So I'd like to introduce Simone. She manages multiple companies with up to 60 staff under her direction and is really proud of her family's achievements across a range of fisheries operating out of Port Lincoln in South Australia. The species that her family's business target includes sardines and Spencer Gulf and West Coast prawn. They also catch wild and ranch southern bluefin tuna, and they also provide a slipway operation for the fishing industry as well. She's a third generation family member to join their business, which is now established for over 50 years. And Simone continues to drive the company towards success, adapting to the changes of today and making her stamp as a female leader in the 21st century. She contributes to the whole of industry progression through her participation in committees on the Australian Southern Bluefin Tuna Industry Association, as well as the South Australian Sardine Industry Association. And that is mainly where I interact with Simone in our professional capacity. Today, Simone has offered to share her story with us with some real pearls of wisdom that she's learned through her life experience and operating the family business. So I'll be doing a little bit of screen sharing to start with, just to give you some slides to put Simone into context so you can see where and how she operates. But in the meantime, I'm going to hand it over to Simone to tell us about where and how and what she does in her family business.
Claire.
Take it away, Simone.
Thanks, Claire. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for having me as a guest speaker. Hopefully today I won't bore you and hopefully you learn something new. So I'll just kick it off. As a third generation family member, I'm excited to put my own business well, sorry, Claire, sorry, 2 seconds. I now can't find my my notes. Hold on.
Sorry, I've stuffed you up.
That's okay.
Do you want me to take it down, or are you right?
No, I'm good. Just exited the full screen.
Okay.
So as a third generation family member, I'm excited to put my own mark on the business. My grandfather polled the tuna, my uncle farmed the tuna, and now I'd like to value add and retail our amazing seafood. Part of this journey has been a collaboration with 3 Southern Bluefin Tuna industry members, including Steer Group, Dinko Tuna, who you would also know as Lakina, and Blaslov Fishing Group, where we aim to value add the whole fish from hearts to tail through to our newly formed company, Kin Premium Australian Seafood. This collaboration has been extremely time consuming and very much a new thing for our industry. Where we once did not share any information, kept practices and knowledge to ourselves and competed against each other, we now share all knowledge and cost save through sharing of leasing sites together, spotters and pilots, and we've even have a joint cage this year of Southern Bluefin Tuna. This, I believe, is an industry breakthrough in innovation and working together for generations to come, whilst focusing on the sustainability of our industry. Southern Bluefin Tuna has had one market for many years in Japan. It has taken until 3 like-minded CEOs have been able to see a similar solution to an industry problem and be open enough to trust within the change and the new process. And we believe we're definitely stronger together. I do also believe that our age and sex has helped this change. Out of approximately 10 industry members, this is in tuna, we have 2 females, which are both part of this new collaboration. All the other members are male. Note that this has been difficult. I've been told by one particular male member to get out while I can. His belief is not within kin, although I can tell you everyone is always watching. If it was easy, it would have been done a long time ago. So over the years that I've been in leadership, I just wanted to mention a couple of highlight areas that I've found change in. So my brother and I have been working together and we've developed a 2 kilo prawn box to take to market. So currently we've always used a 5 kilo and 10 kilo, which is what we believe the market is after. Although explaining this to the stubborn old men on the boats, we have 2 prawn boats under our control. It is not easy. They complain about the change, the logistics, the timing, but after much discussion, they can understand for us to be competitive and sustainable for the future, we must adapt to change. I've taken all our admin online and gone paperless as possible. I've created a management hierarchy system where all managers must report to myself weekly so I can keep track of all areas of the business. We've started trialling electronic maintenance reporting with iPads and tablets, and this is being adapted onto the boats where we've had to wait until the average age of our skippers is sort of middle age in the 40s, and they've been really supportive of the move. I've even had them help design the workbooks we use. So I also wanted to pass on a few key pieces of advice that I can share to all women in seafood after my experiences and learning. We need to step outside the comfort zone. Did you ever feel that you have wanted more, but you're unsure what it is, but your gut gets excited about an opportunity, but your brain says otherwise? Listen to your intuition. This is what I did. I spent 17 years as the internal accountant at Blaslow Fishing. So I studied commerce and worked for our accountants in the city in Adelaide, and then I moved into my role in Blaslow Fishing. And I took a leap of faith when ideas of a male that was going to take the new CEO position at Blaslow Fishing. So my uncle at the time was retiring. My gut felt sick at all the options. Our current tuna farm manager had just gone through a divorce with my sister, which left a divide in the family. I supported him through this time, but having him run the family business was not the best option because of the family divide. I also couldn't bring someone from the outside in to take control over the family business. My brother wasn't an option as he was really busy catching the tuna, sardines and managing the prawn sales. So my gut felt pretty sick on it. So I looked within and I knew I had to step up for the positions to not only the current GM, who was my uncle, but to my whole family and the next generation to come. It took a great deal of strength from myself, and it took time to settle the shock from my own family because we had never had a female lead before. But in due course, they couldn't disagree, as they could see it was for everyone, not only for myself. Something else to consider is watch, observe, and begin to feel comfortable and then speak your mind. Earning the respect of men is hard. I sit around many boards with a huge male presence and large egos. It's a really powerful energy. Prove yourself with the work first. Deliver new ways of thinking when the opportunities arise. It requires a balance, but be successful in your own business or role and they will definitely notice. This is the men. Dealing with change. Be open to it and allow it to flow. Men especially don't like change and loss of power. So don't make a big deal about gender. Make the transition of change smooth. For example, I changed our logo in 2020 after we had had one logo for our whole complete existence, which was 40-something years, and no one liked the change. I wanted to create something where we could diversify our business. Our old logo had fish on it, not necessarily always a business in fishing, but pay respect to the name and the year we were formed. I involved all of the family and management, and together, after much debating, we all agreed. And the women of the family were much better with the change than the men. Do what is best for your family or the company as a whole. If your purpose serves the best possible outcome, then it doesn't matter who is delivering the change. For example, our family is Croatian heritage, so very strong-minded, ethnic, loud-speaking, but we also take great respect from our grandparents who formed this company and started this whole entire venture. And we're grateful for all they have built us. So how do we move forward to the future? Is to make sure the company continues into the future for our kids and our kids' kids. We base our decisions on making sure we have a long-term goal as we pay respect, and this has always been the legacy of my grandfather, to stay as one and to continue forward. Communication is what females are good at. Be transparent without emotion. Speak the truth and it never fails. And find solutions, not excuses. Also be humble and lead by example. For example, we were short on catch this season and I held a meeting with my exec management team and I had to begin and start and go, I'm accountable for 1/3 of our loss of catch, even though I'm land-based. Because what it then did was allow the others to look within themselves and had to admit the accountability. And it was really awkward and difficult and no one wanted to do it. So I had to lead by the example. And I tell you what, I went into that meeting feeling like it was probably one of our darkest times. But together, after each one of us admitted our accountability, we actually came together and found solutions, moved forward, and it was probably one of the best productive meetings we've had. And lastly, a famous athletic brand, Lululemon, I'm sure you've all heard of it, says, do something each day that scares you. Take a chance on speaking up and offering new ways. No one grows sitting in the comfort zone. We go from walking through the dark and the tough times. The next generation offers change in technology, consolidation, new products, and many other things. Offer the ideas, go through the hard work and failing fast, and make sure you see it through all the way to the end. And this is a famous quote we use in my family quite often. Diamonds are made under pressure, create some diamonds. And that's a wrap from me. So if anyone has any questions.
Wonderful, Simone, thanks. And thanks for being so frank with your sharing there, you know, about your family and the journey of you stepping into leadership. I'm sure it was not, you know, the easiest time, but it seems like it's all worked out for the best. So we might throw to questions if people have any questions that they'd like. We've got a bit of time. Heidi.
Hi, Simone. Thank you so much for that presentation and insight into, you know, your life in the industry. It was really awesome to hear. My question's around that sharing of knowledge that you spoke about. So many industries don't often share information and it's often to their detriment. I've been a part of plenty of them. So I'd like to congratulate Kin to start with on getting through that. But I'm really interested in knowing was there one thing or what was it that started that process of breaking down those barriers, like in sharing that knowledge?
Yeah, so I believe everything has to happen in baby steps, and the more you feel comfortable, the more you can grow together. So we formed Kin, it would be 2 years ago now, and it took probably 6 months worth of work before we actually formed Kin, and that was part of the discussion. And we offered it to whole of industry, and out of the approximately 10 members, there was only 3 of us on board. And so probably over that next 6 months, it was very awkward in working out who did what. Everyone knows what they do, but then we spent the next 12 months probably failing fast. And then we actually went, you know what, for us to actually move forward and this to ever work, we actually need to share some of our knowledge and go. And we were also in COVID at the time where, you know, the sales just weren't there. They'd reduced the price. We had one market going to Japan. So we all went, right, well, how are we going to survive, the 3 of us together? And that was right, let's start cost sharing. And so with cost sharing came, well, we actually needed to go, well, who actually uses who and what and how much do they spend? And then we had to start working out who is the best person for each area. And so over time, you know, we can say 2.5 years down the track, we feel much more comfortable. I can say that Blaslow Fishing, our expertise is really fattening the fish. Steer Group's expertise, they're wonderful at catching the fish. And Denko's are wonderful at processing the fish. So we've all found our niches where we, I guess, there are good points, and we now need to share that knowledge within the group. And it is difficult. No one wants to be that first person that says, oh, hey, I'm happy to share, because one, it's your family's, you know, what they've been doing for 40-something years, so to put it on the table. But I believe it's also taken it for our generation to change our way of thinking, for us to know this is the only way to move forward.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Simone. Does anyone else have a question that they'd like to put to Simone about the talk that she's just given there, and grab some insights? Or maybe there might be some other comments that are floating around in the room.
And while someone's writing a comment, I just want to quickly elaborate on that question that I was asked. Don't be afraid to put the information out there, because just because you put the information out there doesn't mean that people can actually go and do what you've done. You've perfected that over time, you know, and it may have been perfecting it over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. They're not going to take it and run with it. You have all the knowledge up here and the secrets and the crew behind you. You know, I believe that one of our strongest points is that we run boutique style. We look after our staff, and our staff never want to leave. You know, even on their days off, they're still in at work. So other people might be able to gain that knowledge, but for them to put it into practice is actually a whole different ball game. So be open to sharing, everyone.
I think that also speaks to the culture of your organisation as well, Simone. Jess.
Thank you, Claire, and thank you, Simone. So, hi, I am Jessica McInerney. I am the New South Wales Director of Women in Seafood Australasia, and also the Communications and Public Affairs Manager at Seafood Industry Australia. Firstly, Simone, thank you very much. That was a really wonderful presentation, and I really enjoyed hearing all about it and seeing the pictures accompanying it. This one isn't so much a question, but a comment. For those of you who do know me, you know how much I love a good saying. And when you said that diamonds are made under pressure, then let's make some diamonds, I absolutely loved it. And just fair warning to everybody that I will probably start saying that now too.
Thank you. We love comments in the family.
I'll look out for it in the next SIA newsletter, Jess.
Absolutely. I can imagine it's going to be coming out of my mouth relatively frequently.
Love it. Larry, did you have a question or comment?
Yeah, I'm on. Yes, I did. Simone, wonderful. Thank you so much. You sent chills down my spine when you spoke about culture, the female aspect, transparency, and also that sort of real getting back to basics almost, just in terms of communication. You've really built a culture. Do you think all of those things come with being female? You know, that sort of the culture of the organizations, the coming together of multiple organizations, the transparency, and also just from a sustainability point of view, have you been getting some feedback from your community?
So I'll take them all as different questions. Firstly, my uncle did an amazing job in building up the tuna farms, and he was very hands-on approach. So for me to enter when I took over 3 years ago running the whole entire organisation, the best way I could think to move forward where I found that we were lacking was in communication. So if you make people responsible for certain areas, they actually take care and charge. Whereas when there's no clear boundaries of who's in charge of what area, whether it be looking after the net on the boat, to maintaining the trucks at the yard, to, you know, the person that's paying wages, if everybody clearly knows who's running what, then I find, and everyone reports to each other, then there's no communication breakdown. And I feel like that's probably my strongest thing I've brought to our organisation is communication. You know, my door's always open to have a chat. Another thing, what I try and instill is group working bees, where all of us, even the office staff, even the admin, we all go out to the yard once a year and we try and all work together on a big cleanup. You know, it's really good bonding time. It's a great way to chat. You know, you might be cleaning a toilet with someone that's a skipper or someone that's a net mender. So really getting back down, you know, unearthing yourself and finding out what other people do. You know, I always said that show was silly, you know, where the CEOs dressed up and pretended to be, you know, someone down below them. But I actually think it's so wonderful if you can get on the ground with your staff and actually have a chat, so they're not intimidated and you know exactly what's going on. And also providing feedback. So quite often I'll send out a survey. How do you think things can be better? You know, the old school probably used to throw that, you know, throw that away. The younger generation actually want to have their say, but they don't know how to come and approach you on their own because that's too scary. Sustainability, well, we're trying to bring that into our whole organisation. We haven't been the best at practicing sustainability, so that is one of our main focuses in the last 12 months and will be for the next 12 months.
Well, it was a good question there, Larry. Thank you. And good elaboration, Simone. I think you're very true when you said no one ever wants to leave Blaslov's. If there's an opening up at Blaslov's, you watch out. People will quit their jobs at other companies to go and work for these guys. They really do have a good family culture, and the family doesn't just relate to the family in the business. The family relates to everyone that works within their organisation. Oh, Heidi, you have another question.
Yeah, I'm going to throw another one in there. So, Simone, what has been the biggest challenge for you as a woman in the seafood industry over all the years you've been involved with it?
There's been so many challenges. Okay, so this is going to get personal. I guess the biggest challenge when you're working for your own family, and I'm not sure how many people work with their family out there, but was when my grandfather died. His will was divided and basically Blaslov Fishing stayed as one, and my mum inherited half and my auntie inherited half. And it was, what were we going to do with that? Now, we could have easily split it, but we actually went back to what my grandfather wanted, and his legacy was always to carry it on for generations to come. And again, we went through the debates of divide, sell, or stay as one. And in the end, all of our hearts felt the same, that we needed to carry this on, because trust me, it would have been easier to sell it all up and all to live with some money in the bank and not have the stress. But then I think about how I was brought up, and we were very close with my grandparents, and I want the same thing for my children, and I hope that my children want the same thing for us. And the family continues to grow, and so do the generations, because all of us are having children or had lots of children by now. So it's not just about creating a job for your grandchildren or your children. It's about setting up something that everyone can be proud of within the family, but also that extends out to the community, because if we did decide to shut down and you lease out quota, then who's going to take those jobs? And, does the towns, like everybody suffers, from the town to the area, to the sporting clubs, because I'm involved in a lot of sporting clubs within the community. So by staying sustainable and working for the future, I believe that the town is stronger for it too.
Thank you for sharing that.
I've just got a few comments here, Simone. Emily's eating her lunch, so she doesn't want us to look at her, but she said, thank you so much. There's very many relatable learnings, keeping in mind she's also in a family business, right, that apply across lots of industries, and the future of seafood is most definitely working together to cost save and manage fish stocks together. Kin is something very special for the future of the tuna industry. Congratulations. P.S. It's also Claire's birthday. I had to put that in there. It's my birthday today.
It's yours
so
today.
Thanks, Emily.
Happy birthday.
Yes, thanks, Simone. Yes, no, thanks, guys. Emily's very cheeky, but I love it because it's, I'm like that. And then Eliza says, thank you, Simone, for your prezzo. You're an inspiring female in seafood. You're a leader. So that's some nice feedback there on the comments as well. So keeping in mind that we're meant to be winding up in a couple of minutes, guys, if there was any last minute comments or questions for Simone. I think you've done a wonderful job of setting the scene of your daily life and life within the tuna, sardine, prawn, Port Lincoln fishing fleet. You definitely are becoming a trailblazer around town. A very busy person, and she's also very involved in local sporting clubs and active in her private life as well as in her business life as well. So there's a lot of thank yous coming through from Anita and Heidi and Jess. Oh no, that was a happy birthday to me. Sorry, Simone. Thank you, Jess.
Claire, can I just say, having known Simone for over 30 years, I distinctly recall her being asked the question, I don't know if you can, she was asked what did she want to be when she grew up, and she wanted to be a businesswoman, and I remember that, and here she is now. So congratulations, Simone, boss lady, you've done it. Well done. Thanks for a great presentation.
Thank you, Nicole. So Nicole and I went to school together, and I don't know about anyone else, but while I was at school, you know, I definitely wasn't at the top of the class and everything, but I cruised along at school, and we got to year 12 and they're like, what are you going to do after school, Simone? I said, I just want to carry a mobile phone and a briefcase. And they're like, so perhaps commerce? And I said, what's commerce? I was into maths and physics and science, and they said, oh, no, we think you need to do accounting and do that at uni. And so I was like, all right. So I swapped over in year 12 to do that and didn't know where the path was going to take me. But I picked up part-time work for our accountants at Blaslog Fishing. They were in the city, and so they offered me a job part-time. So I worked for them for quite some years, and then they ended up asking me to come to Lincoln. But yeah, thank you, Nicole, for sharing that, because yeah, again, I had no idea. I was just open, and back then mobile phones were unheard of. Now I'd love to get my mobile phone and throw it in the bush.
Yeah, that's great. No, Nicole, that's so cool that you have that memory and that it's come a full circle and she's actually there, even though she had no idea what that meant or where that was going to take her. That underlying drive, I think that's what that speaks to, that drive to succeed and having confidence in yourself and your abilities. So congratulations, Simone, on a fantastic career and life to date, and thank you for sharing it with us. There's probably lots more exciting times to come for yourself, and particularly for Kin and what the three companies are doing together in that space. That's really exciting. So thank you all for joining us today. I will just make another reminder about Thursday's webinar with Sky on Whispers in the Bush around sexual harassment, our final web presentation for this webinar series. So we'll look forward to seeing you all there, and enjoy the rest of my birthday.